Hey guys, Dave here. I got another review ready for you today. Still in the middle of a snowstorm and it's President's Day, so I don't have class and I don't have work. So I thought I would go ahead and do a review of something I've had ready for a few days, but I've been dreading doing it because of my first impression video and the fact that my review is much different. So, let's go ahead and get into it. I'm about to eat my words, but this is Thierry Mugler's Pure Havane. As you know, it was released this year, 2011. The perfumer, as always, is Jacques Huclier. Notes, top, according to base notes, we have fresh tobacco leaves. The mid is honeyed tobacco, accord, and vanilla. And the base is patchouli and bitter cacao. As far as bottle sizes, there's only one that I know of. Same with Pure Malt, since it's a limited edition, it's only the 3.4 ounce, this guy, which will run you about $80. As far as when it's going to be released, I believe, honestly I don't know. I know it's going to hit Nordstrom sometime in the next couple months for sure. I would maybe check with Nordstrom's if you're really interested in it. As far as classification, I believe it's probably a tobacco oriental. To me, it's sweet tobacco kind of on top of a mix of the DNA of Amen and Pure Malt, if that makes sense. On top, on the initial spray, before sniffing my skin, but smelling the aroma that wafts up to my nose, I get Pure Malt, which is part of the reason I was upset with it at first. I really should have waited to do the first impression video and worn it for at least a whole day before doing it. And anyway, when I do get close to the skin and smell the top, it smells like a mix of fresh tobacco leaves with the kind of a sweet, almost berry note like Pure Malt, on my skin at least. I do also get kind of like a salty vibe in the first 20 to 30 minutes as well. I would say the opening leans more towards the fresh side than anything, which is part of the reason I think some people think this would work for summer, is just because the opening is more fresh, but I don't really personally think this is going to be good for summer. In the mid, it starts to evolve into a really beautiful honeyed tobacco and starts to smell like a cigar, which makes the name make sense and the concept works. This is one that smells different on me close to the skin than what is projecting up. Up close, it smells very much like the smoke coming from an expensive cigar with the sweetness of like a cherry, dried fruit, tobacco, and honey. It's definitely much different than my first impression of it was. The boozy kind of peaty note of Pure Malt that I get in the opening is gone on my skin within an hour or two at the most. Depends on the wear and how much I'm sweating. But it is there a little bit in the opening. It's not dominant though. I don't find that there's much more development past the mid on this one, although I do start to get hints of the bitter cacao and the patchouli, but it is mostly the sweet cherry tobacco vibe with honey. The patchouli is definitely there, which helps with longevity, I think, but it's not in your face patchouli like Amen. I think this is the most mature and grown up of the Amens. There's definite gourmand characteristics to this, but I wouldn't call it a gourmand. I'd say it's more of a tobacco oriental type of fragrance. I would say that this is probably best for casual use, but I really can see it worn for anything. As I said, I really don't think this is good for summer, but I think any other season it would work just fine. As far as what women say, most of the women that I asked over the age of 20 really liked this quite a bit. As the age went up, they liked it more and more. With the tobacco, it gives it a little bit more of a mature feel, but it's a sweet tobacco, which kind of brings it back down instead of being a super mature fragrance. As far as age, as I said, this is definitely the most mature and to me the easiest to wear of the Amens in my opinion. I really do think that anyone over 20 can pull this off. As far as number of sprays, I would probably do no more than 3. You can either do one on the chest, one on the neck, one on the back of the neck, or one on the chest, one on each wrist, whatever combination you want to do. I think 3 is enough with this one. Who would like this? I think if you enjoy sweet tobacco fragrances that smell like a fine cigar, you would love this one. At times it is pretty sweet, but it never gets cloying or super sweet. I'd say if you like Amen or Pure Malt, you will probably love this one, especially if you like them and you like tobacco-based fragrances. Why would you hate this? I think if you hate sweet, dried fruit types of tobacco, if you hate Amen or Pure Malt, then you probably won't like this. To me, the dominant notes in this are tobacco, honey, and cacao, and kind of the dried fruit, but that's part of the tobacco. Patchouli is there, but it's not dominant, at least to my nose. It's there, but it's not dominant. As far as bottles, I think if you like Amen, Pure Malt, Versace's The Dreamer, or Tom Ford's Tobacco Vanille, you will probably really enjoy this one. What do I think of when I wear this? Sitting in a hot tub with friends in the fall, relaxing, smoking a very nice fine cigar. Let's go ahead and get into my ratings. Overall smell, I'm going to give it a 9 out of 10. I'm really liking this one a lot, and I'm doing the review because I'm much more willing to eat my words and admit that I rushed to judgment far too quickly on this one. It's a beautiful blend of dried fruit, tobacco, and honey. I think they toned down the sweetness in the dry down of Amen in order to make it smell more like a fine cigar, which they definitely achieved, in my opinion. Projection, I'll give it a 9.5 out of 10. It projects well. It's not like its older brother Amen, but you'll have a nice solid scent cloud around you for 6 hours at least on my skin, and it's fairly intense inside that scent cloud, but it's not going to jump across the room and smack someone in the face. As far as longevity, I'll give it a 9 out of 10. I get very similar longevity to Pure Malt, about 8 to 10 hours on my skin, which is very good. As far as uniqueness, I'll give it an 8.5 out of 10. There are other types of fragrances that are similar, but I find this one pretty unique personally. It's much sweeter tobacco than what I expected it to be, but it definitely smells like the concept intended it to, if that makes sense. As far as versatility, I'll give it an 8.5 out of 10. I really personally cannot see this being worn in the summer at all. I just think it's too thick, too full-bodied. I think it can be worn for any occasion though, personally, and to me it's the easiest of the Amens to wear. As far as my overall rating, I'll give it a 9 out of 10. My first impression of this was not as good as this one deserved it to be. It's very well blended. It's a very wonderful smelling tobacco fragrance. It's definitely related to Amen and Pure Malt, but since it is a flanker, I should probably not have been surprised by that. I have no idea why I was. It's definitely worthy of a bottle next to Pure Malt, unless you absolutely hate tobacco. As far as by chart pass, I think if you love Pure Malt, Amen, and tobacco, then it's a must try, at least if you have a Nordstrom's in your area once it releases, because then you will be able to try it. If you really love Pure Malt, you really love Amen, and you really like sweet tobacco, then I think it's a buy personally. So, that is my actual review of Thierry Mugler's Pure Havane. I definitely have learned not to jump to conclusions too quickly, and if I'm going to do a first impression of something that I have high expectations of, give it a couple of wearings instead of just spraying it on my skin, waiting an hour, and then making a video. So, I definitely won't be doing that again for stuff like this that I have high expectations for. For some I don't have expectations for, I'm more than okay doing that. But anyway, as always, please rate, comment, and subscribe, and thanks for watching, guys.